Every week, as I start up my arena game, an ominous shadow has cast on me every single time I see this unit on the arena. It was late August 2020, when Zebo had a choice to choose between this unit as well as his favorite waifu Marina when he first started his journey in Guardian Tales. He chose his favorite SS tier waifu Marina, and this unit that was a counter to his favorite waifu has been a nightmare to him ever since. I have tried to avoid to do a video on this unit simply because of the amount of content that I got to talk about and the amount of footages that I got to prepare for her. However, she's such an iconic hero that I think I should not avoid doing her. So as we move on to the new year of 2021, I figured what a better way to start the series again with one of the most dominant unit in Guardian Tales ever since the release of the game. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about how worthy is Bari actually, and whether or not she has become a relic of the past or still the queen of the meta as she used to be. Let us begin today's video. This will be the format for today's video. We'll look at her story, her stats, her skills, and exclusive weapon. We'll playtesting Bari to see her strengths and weaknesses in terms of attack animation. We will also do some Colosseum and Arena analysis to see how well Bari is still performing in the current meta. Then I will be talking about some of the prowess of Bari in terms of the PvE aspect, and then I'll end off this video with some final thoughts and opinions on my end. Bari is a high priestess of the god of harvest, and her mission is to resurrect the burnt world tree by collecting happy memories of people. She will grant you one wish and take away your happiest memories in return. However, every time I see her, she seems to make me cry as she beat me up pretty badly in the arena. When she sees someone desperately in need and is not happy enough, she will actually chip away her own memories, which turn her into one of the greatest killing machine around in order to grant others happiness. She has two values when granting wishes to others. Number one, if the client is too greedy, she will make them pay the sins with her own hands or with the power of Mother Nature. She also won't bring back anyone from the dead because she has been a killing machine ever since her release in Guardian Tales, and there's too many corpses she has released on her wake as she travels through the terrain of Arena as well as Colosseum. And from her story, we can see why Bari is one of the most prominent units in the game, simply because she is blessed with the power of Mother Nature to give judgment to everyone that oppose her within Guardian Tales. Here is Bari's stats ranking based on level 74 characters. She is first in terms of attack, 14th in terms of defense, 9th in terms of crit chance, and 33rd in terms of HP. Her party buff is skill damage increased up to plus 80%, and the chain skill Rose Grab inflicts 300% DPS on the enemy while reducing earth type resistance by 30% for 5 seconds. And her special ability Magic Shell Recharge allows her to increase attack by 30% for 5 seconds when her spell bullets are recharging. She also has an inbuilt plus 10% shield at the battle start, making her slightly tankier than she used to be because her HP is actually 110% of her stats at the start of every battle. Bari's exclusive weapon, Mayrail, provides earth attack, skill, crit chance, as well as weapon skill regen speed up to plus 18%, skill damage up to plus 24%, as well as HP plus up to 15%. Her exclusive ability, it will allow her to fire a swift spirit bomb with 50% chance whenever she attacks. This swift spirit bomb shoots at 40% higher speed than her normal attack, and it recharges in 40% shorter time than the normal spirit bomb attack. Her weapon skill is Flower Bomb, which deals 275% DPS with a super low recharge time of 7.5 seconds. So with her kit added together, we can see that Bari is an insane damage dealer with certain decent bulk from her stats distribution as well as the stats provided by her EX weapon. At the same time, her kit works so well with each other that based on a certain RNG, she's able to simply overpower you from her random recharge of her secondary Swift Spirit Bomb and also the boosted stats from her special ability. So all these different attack stacking as well as secondary Spirit Bomb blastings adding on together means that Bari is definitely one of the highest damage dealer in the game. And another thing to note about Bari is that her chain skill also complements by increasing the damage coming from earth attack. So what this means is that because Bari has a decently low weapon skill time, she is usually able to crowd control enemies very easily and unleash her chain skill. So post chain skill, there is basically no unit that can withstand the wrath of Bari simply because of the potential additional damage output that she can release on her Spirit Bomb attack simply from the earth resistance down. So Bari is required to actually hold down and charge up her Spirit Bomb attack. However, once fully charged up, the Spirit Bomb will result in a very big AoE blast at the target position. So this Spirit Bomb attack is omnidirectional as it's able to pass through walls and terrains, making Bari one of the most versatile units to use irregardless of the maps that she is put in. So other than that, she has a possibility to release a secondary Spirit Bomb attack and this results in additional damage. So there's a certain RNG factor with regards to this secondary bomb. So I shall not talk too much about it because it's a luck based kind of thing depending on the scenario. A weapon skill will release 3 condensed energy of flower power at the target and it takes around 2 weapon skills to crowd control the enemy. The weapon skill is unable to pass through walls nor terrains, and although it's auto homing when Bari is close to the target, if the target managed to run far enough away, the auto target mechanism might be invalid. Now moving on to the Colosseum and Arena analysis. So there's gonna be a lot to talk about with regards to this section, so do bear with me with the information overload. So with that warning given to you guys, let us start on this part of the analysis. So firstly, in terms of Colosseum, Bari has been dominating the Colosseum ever since her release. So back in the days where there were only maybe Marina, Bari, Tiana as well as Nari running amok in the arena, Mono Earth team is one of the most dominant team in the arena. But Bari is without a doubt one of the most powerful leader units to use when she was first released and when there wasn't as many counters to her in the Colosseum setting. Now, as many patches has dropped upon us and more units were introduced to the game, there were definitely more checks and controls to Bari. However, it did not shake Bari's position in the Colosseum before the release of Future Princess, because Bari's position as one of the strongest leaders is set in stone because her powerful counters such as Vishuvac does not perform so well in Colosseum, and Ogma, even though having a really great reflect ability against Bari, does not scale very well in the Colosseum because you have no control over Ogma in the Colosseum setting. So the first big change that actually shook the position of Bari being one of the most powerful leader in the Colosseum is actually the release of Future Princess. So Future Princess weapon skill is so powerful that she managed to overthrow Bari to become one of the most powerful leader in the Colosseum. However, has that shaken the position of Bari as one of the highest damage dealer in Colosseum? The answer is no. So even though Garam has been released, Bari is still a useful alternative if you do not have Garam in your team for the Colosseum setting. And with the release of Rue, you can see that the Earth meta is slowly returning into the show with Future Princess leading as the leader unit. At the same time, it is also very important to note that Bari has one of the most universal buff, which is skill attack damage, and it's really powerful and flexible because you can actually slot Bari into any teams outside of, just Earth teams or maybe leading with Bari, because who doesn't like a big boost to their skill damage? So from the history of Bari's past to the present, you can see that Bari is still one of the most viable unit in the Colosseum, simply of the fact that she's able to deal insane AoE damage on the opponent's team. Although she might not be as good as a leader compared to a Future Princess now, she's still a really good backline unit to have if you do not have other hard hitters in your arsenal for the Colosseum setting. So here's one of the older video of the How Worthy series I made while I analyzed some of the older characters that was released, and this footage can actually show you how dominant Bari is in the arena in the past. So prior to the release of units such as Vishuvek, Okma, Future Princess and Beth, Bari was dominating the arena because there was really no control or checks on her. But many patches have dropped, and Bari's power level in the arena has definitely dropped because she has so many bad matchups in the arena right now. So some of the most dominant ones you guys should know are actually Okma, Future Princess and Beth. So these few units are so dominant in the arena that Bari's usage definitely dropped tremendously over time as compared to the past. However, I would say in the hands of a good player that's able to gauge the opponent's positioning as well as pilot Bari and abuse her low weapon skill cooldown time, as well as proccing random RNG luck, Bari is definitely still viable in the arena simply because of the ease of controlling your opponent, as well as the major burst potential she can unleash if she's able to chain you down. It's no joke, guys. If you have seen a Bari chaining you guys down, you should know how powerful Bari can be if you're caught off guard. So, other than the counters of Okma and Future Princess, Bari does have a fighting chance against all other units, depending on how you pilot her. I would say that she's definitely not the strongest unit right now, but she's definitely still viable in the arena setting. Now moving on to the PvE discussion side, Bari, excluding the Tower of Horizon, is one of the most versatile unit in terms of PvE content because she deals so much damage, she deals AoE damage, and her normal attack is able to attack in all directions, irregardless of terrains or walls. Right, so this makes her a really good room clearer, a really good boss damage dealer, as well as a really good burst damage dealer. Other than just dealing insane amount of damage, Bari's weapon skill usually is able to chain the bosses within 2 hits in the PvE setting. So irregardless of your Heavenhold Tower or your build rates, Bari is able to chain down on bosses really easily. And Bari is one of the reasons why you can see millions of damage on Earth teams within the different guild rates videos you can see online. So even though Bari might not be as dominant as she used to be for the Colosseum as well as Arena, Bari is without a doubt still one of the most useful, versatile, as well as a must-have unit on your team for your PvE content. Another thing to note is also Bari's weapon skill being able to easily crowd control the opponent, because this allows her to unleash her chain skill pretty easily. So the earth resistance down coming from the chain skill will allow your other earth units, if you are building an earth team, to dish out even more damage as a whole team against the enemies. So I shall not actually boast too much about Bari's damage output because we all know how powerful Bari is in terms of damage dealing. And I would say that she's a definite must if you want high position for your guild damage. You know, she's a definite must if you want to see your Scarecrow ranking increase. You know, she's a definite must if you want a flexible unit that is able to perform well irregardless of the map setting. And you know, you want a powerful unit that is able to crowd control the bosses really easily. There's just so many plus points to Bari in terms of PvE contents. And you know, she's definitely an SS tier unit for PvE. In conclusion, Bari is definitely an SS tier unit for PvE contents. And in terms of PvP contents, I'll rate Bari somewhere between the S to SS tier unit because she's still definitely viable, but she isn't as dominant as she used to be in some of these game modes. So Bari is indeed, without a doubt, even though Bari might not be as dominant as she used to be, Bari is definitely one of the most versatile unit in the game. You know, from her universal skill damage buff, as well as her flexibility as a super insane AoE damage dealer, and also the random RNG procs that could allow her to dish out, you know, additional damage, unexpected damage, makes her a very good unit to have in your arsenal. And if you ask me whether or not you should put your resources in her even in this current climate, I would say a definite yes. If you want to have good guild rate damage, as well as have an ease of time in clearing your story mode, as well as the Heaven Hole Towers. So below are some reasons why you should pull for Bari's banner or invest in her. So how worthy is Flower Girl Bari actually? Bari is this unit that has stood the test of time ever since her release in Guardian Tales. She's able to actually rebrand herself, you know, from being one of the most powerful leaders in the Colosseum to perhaps a really good backline damage dealer, and fitting in, you know, modifying and reposition and rebranding Earth teams in Colosseum. So how will this change in the future? I do not know, because it depends on what units are released to counter Bari. However, do take note that countless units has already been released to counter Bari the monster, but she's still able to find a place in your PvP game mode. So I honestly don't think this fact will change anytime soon unless they really introduce a unit to specifically counter her. Nonetheless, she's still a great unit to have if you just want to see insane damage numbers on raid bosses and also have an easy time clearing your various PvE contents. Even though Bari is not a must-have unit in the current atmosphere of the game, she is still a good to have unit if you do not have her in your arsenal, simply from the damage output that she can dish out. You can just pull her, put her in your hero pool, and one day if you feel that you do not have enough damage for your guild rates and you want to invest in an insane damage dealer, Bari will always be ready in your arsenal for that role. So Bari will always fit that role no matter how many counters are released. So if you ask me whether or not you should pull for her, the answer is yes. And whether or not should you invest in her, it really depends on your current hero composition. If you already have a very powerful damage dealer in your team, Bari might not be a must invest. But if you do not have any powerful damage dealer in your team, I would advise you to invest in a Bari, because the position as one of the most powerful damage dealer will not change no matter how many counters are released in the future patches. So will you invest in Bari after watching this video? Do let me know down in the comment section below. And for players who have encountered their fair share of Baris owning them in the arena, do feel free to share your experience in the comment section as well. So with that, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope everybody had a great New Year celebration. Remember to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell in order to receive more updates from Zeebo Gaming channel. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!